Hi, everyone. Welcome to Mindset Monday. I am Christine Colsing. If we haven't met yet, welcome to the Alignment Tribe. We are so thrilled that you are here. Last week, I talked about my journey of sobriety. And when I got done with Mindset Monday, I said to my sister, I wish I would have told more about what my life has been like over the last 16 years, because I think it's really important to share what this journey of personal development, spiritual growth, of internal work can actually look like. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. It's continuing the journey. And I'd like to wrap this into why this is important for you here as a member of the Alignment Tribe. So it's not just my story, but I do think that understanding where I've come from and what I've gone through can help you to see what's possible for you as well. So if you haven't watched my talk from last week, I encourage you to do so. It got a little emotional. It was very raw. It was very real. It was me sharing my journey of getting sober and what that was like for me. And the reason I got so emotional a couple of times is because it's been a while since I've told that story. I used to tell it quite often, and I haven't shared it in a while. And I got emotional because I realized how far I've come and what my life is like now. And the way my life is now is what I had always visioned and hoped that my life could be like, but it's even better. And there were times, maybe you've had this experience where you have a vision, you have an outcome you'd like to achieve, you have a goal you want to reach. And over time, you find that you get there, and looking back, you think, oh my gosh, I always wanted this. I wasn't sure it was going to happen, or I've always wanted this and it's actually better than I thought that it was going to be. So, the journey though is always a journey of self-discovery. It's always a journey of going deeper and learning more. And that's what really I want to talk about today. So for me, when I first got sober, I went into a 12-step program. And one of the main tenets of the program was not just honesty with yourself, like admitting that you had a problem, but really getting honest with yourself about your personal responsibility for your life and for your choices and for the decisions that you made, the situations that you were in, and really taking responsibility for the chaos that you caused or for the decisions that you made. And in the 12-step program, that's step 4. You make an inventory of your life and you look at what part you played in it. What was your responsibility? And up until I got to that point in the program, my life was really, I didn't take a lot of personal responsibility. I did a lot of complaining. I did a fair amount of blaming. It was always someone else, right? Like it was my ex-husband's fault, or it was I just wasn't born into a wealthy family, or it was her fault for treating me that way, or it's my employee's fault for not showing up on time. Like it was always easier in my mind to put the responsibility for my life and where I was onto others, whether it was a particular person or just society in general. And what I learned in that first go round with the steps, and I've done them several times since then, is that I had a part to play in every situation in my life, in all the relationships I was in the work that I was doing, in my financial situation. I had a part to play in all of that. And that was the first time that I really opened my eyes up to that concept, to that idea. So I really was pleasantly surprised when I was doing my neurolinguistic programming master practitioner training and was introduced to the concept of cause and effect, that everything in life has a cause and an effect. And we are either at the cause or we are living in the effect. And this was just like a deeper level of this like personal responsibility. And it's a big pillar of what we teach inside Align and Design Your Life, is this concept of being at cause, that you are the cause of your life because you are the one who causes your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions. And the more that you are able to dive into this concept and apply it to your life, the more power you have in your life. This really is the formula for self-empowerment. So for example, when I was kind of first getting sober, I needed to get like a real job, not working as a cocktail waitress because I couldn't be around alcohol that much. So I got a job in a law office. I worked for attorneys. We did real estate closings, and then the housing market tanked. It tanked really fast and hard in Florida, and I lost my job. A few months later, I got another job. I was working in private aviation. I was trying to navigate this whole like corporate world. It was kind of new to me because I'd always been an entrepreneur before then. But I got to the point with that job where I wasn't happy. I had a boss that was a yeller and a screamer and a blamer. And while I was making decent money, my quality of life wasn't that good. I was constantly stressed. I worked a ton of hours, and I just wasn't happy. And what I really wanted for my life was to be closer to my family. I had spent 15 years apart from my family, living in Colorado and Florida, and I really wanted to be with my sister as she was getting ready to have kids. And so I had to look at like, what was my part in this job? What did I really want from my life? And was I willing to take the risk and go for what I really wanted? And I sat with that for a while, and eventually the answer came to me, and it was yes. So I left my job and I moved to Cincinnati with not much of a plan other than I was going to figure it out. I knew I could be resourceful and figure something out. But I took that responsibility. I took the responsibility to say, I don't like the way this boss is treating me, and I want to be able to be with my family, and so I'm going to figure out how to make that work. One of the other reasons I decided to move was because I needed to take care of my financial mess. I had made quite a mess of my finances when I was out there drinking, and I needed to take responsibility for that. And part of that was being able to really look at and own what I was doing with my finances. Not in a judgmental way, not in a way that I was putting myself down. I had done plenty of that. But to be able to take more of an objective view and say, here's where I need to take responsibility. And so when I decided to clear bankruptcy 7 years ago, that was a big step for me in being at cause for my life, for taking that responsibility for the choices I had made, for the situation that I was in, and being able to do so from a place of non-judgment, of not giving myself a hard time for mistakes that I had made. And so I was able to go through that process and do so to the best of my ability, taking responsibility for my part in things and owning up to it. And then the same thing happened when I needed to close my Pilates studio. I had built a fairly successful Pilates studio. I was really good at what I did, but it was really physically demanding. And I had an ankle injury, and I was having another health issue, and I really just didn't see how I could create the future that I wanted while working as much as I was. But I also knew that closing the studio meant I would disappoint a lot of people. And that's a hard thing for me. You know, I was afraid I would disappoint people when I left my job in Florida, and I was afraid I would be disappointing myself and others when I declared bankruptcy, and I was afraid I would disappoint people when I needed to close my Pilates studio. But really the key for me has always been looking at my part. You know, am I staying in this business because it's the best thing for me, or am I staying in this business because I don't want to disappoint other people? Right? Those are two very different reasons for continuing to do what you're doing. And so when I looked at what was best for me, what was going to be best for my family, what was going to be best for my future, I had to make the tough decision to close my studio and disappoint people, right? And all those people are okay. I'm sure they're fine. They found other places to do Pilates, right? And I was able to go on and build my health and wellness business, which was a really big step for me to do that. Being at cause has always been a part of my journey over the last 16 years in sobriety. I just didn't label it as such for a long time because I didn't have that ability to talk about it this way. You're either at cause or you're at effect. I just knew that the more personal responsibility I took, the more power I felt in my life. The less I worried about what other people thought, the less I lived my life based on what other people were perceiving about me, and the more I could live the life and create the life that I wanted. And that's why this is such a huge component of Align and Design Your Life. It's right in part 1. It's one of the first things that we talk about and we teach. And we even talked about it in our 4-part mini series From Hustle to Flow recently, because it's a concept that when you can really, truly embody that you are either at cause or at effect, then you begin to see how much power you actually have in your life. You have the power to choose what you think about each situation. You have the power to choose how you feel about your life, and you have the power to choose to act. And that could be the action of doing something. It could also be the action of resting and receiving and going inward. And the more that we are at cause for our lives, the more power that we have. So throughout my life, the more I look back and see the moments where I was at cause were the moments that were scary. They were big. It was usually big decisions I was making in my life, right? And I was weighing, do I make this decision based on what's best for me, or am I making this decision based on what's best and easier for everybody else? And sometimes that's a hard place to be. Sometimes the decisions that we're making, we're so conditioned to please others, to give other people what they need. We don't want to rock the boat. We want people to like us, accept us, respect us. And we often make decisions that aren't in our best interest, but are better for other people, right? But the more that we can practice being at cause and choosing our thoughts and feelings and our actions, the easier these decisions become, the more clear it becomes to make the choices that are best for us, right? So choosing to leave my job to come be with my family, choosing to step up and take responsibility for my financial situation, choosing to close a business because I knew that would be best for my body and for my future. These were all decisions that were hard to make. And sometimes it took me a few months. Each one took me a few months, sometimes a few years to make. But in the choosing, in making that decision, had I known even more clearly about being at cause, I think I would have been able maybe to make those choices sooner. But knowing that I'm responsible, I'm ultimately responsible for my life, for my thoughts, my feelings, and my actions, gives me the power to choose that. And here's why it gives you so much power. Because when you know that you're at cause for how you think, how you feel, and what you do, you also begin to understand that everyone else is too. That other people are responsible for their thoughts, for their feelings, and for their actions. And we cannot take that responsibility for them. So when it comes time for you to make a big decision in your life, when you have to choose something, when you know that you're choosing from awareness what is best and right for you, you can do so with the grace and the understanding that the effect that you're causing for others, they will be at cause for how they choose to think about it, feel about it, and act on it. Right? So like when I closed my Pilates studio, I knew that a lot of people would be really disappointed. They liked my teaching, which is great. I was so grateful for those clients and for that experience over the years. I really loved what I did. It just wasn't tenable for me to do it anymore. And when I understood that each one of those people would be able to choose what they thought about it, choose what they felt about it, and that I couldn't take that on, it allowed me to make the choice for myself. I wasn't trying to orchestrate how everyone else would think about me and feel about me. I couldn't be responsible for that because that's not my job. We each are at cause for our lives. Now, not everybody knows this. Very few people do, in fact. And if we look around, most of the people that we see in positions of power, I won't necessarily call them all leaders because they're not all leaders, but a lot of people in position of power do a lot of blaming and complaining. They don't really take personal responsibility for their actions, for their thoughts, and for their feelings. And so we don't always get a lot of really great modeling around this concept. But don't you agree that the people that you do admire the most, the people maybe that you see have made the significant change or impact in the world or even in their own lives, are people who take personal responsibility, people who choose to be at cause for their lives rather than being at effect. So I'd love to know, where are you being at cause for your life? Where are you taking this responsibility for your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions? And where are you maybe struggling with a choice or a challenge or something that you're coming to in your life or your business that you'd like some help with, that you'd like to have more personal power around? Because we can help you with that. So let us know in the comments. Where are you being at cause? And do you have a decision, a challenge, or something that's coming up in your life where you'd like to feel more empowered in the choices that you're making, in the thoughts that you're thinking, and the feelings that you're feeling about it? Because we can help you get there. Just let us know in the comments so we can support you. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to Mindset Monday, our kind of part 2 of my journey in sobriety, this continuing the journey. We appreciate you. We're so happy that you're here, and we encourage you to invite others to come into the Alignment Tribe so that they can get these Mindset Monday tips as well. Just share the link and people will be able to come in. And thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day.